Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, good. Let me just make sure everybody is here. All right. Okay, so I have Edgar, Elena, Alejandra, Angie, Ileana, Miranda, Vanessa, Fernanda, and Mary. All right. So we're going to start.
Teacher, no entendí lo de la clase que teníamos que bajar el PowerPoint.
Ah,
¿No que bajar?
no. That's for you if you want to study.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, that's for you if you want to study for the
For Friday.
for Friday. Yeah, you can use it. It's the same presentation that I use. And you can
¿Alguien tiene el sonido ahí por ahí?
Muy fuerte.
yeah. Let me. I'm gonna mute. Hold on. Les voy a poner mute a todos. Si quieren hablar, le quitan el mute, ¿sí?
Sí.
Okay. Hold on. Yes, no, the presentation is only for if you want to study for the quiz on Friday. Okay. All right, so we are going to start today. We have two things that I want to cover. The last two things of the book, which is we're going to learn and practice the verb had and didn't have. Sorry, to talk about the past possessions. Okay, and we're also going to learn and practice about the verb could and couldn't in the past to talk about abilities. Okay, abilities in the past. All right. If you want to ask something, remember you can either use the chat or you can turn on the microphone. Okay, let's see. All right, I have these 1 and 2 paragraphs. Okay, this one, it says, right now I have a bookcase, 1 bed, a TV, and some books. I also have a closet, a mirror, and several shoes. But I don't have a bathroom and I don't have a desk. Okay. This one. When I was a child, I had 2 beds in my bedroom, one for my sister and one for me. I have a lot of toys and I had a TV with cable. I didn't have a bathroom and I didn't have a desk with a computer. Tell me which one is for, let's see if you understand my letters, present, and which one is for the past. Write in the chat, paragraph 1 or paragraph 2. Which one is for the present and which one is for the past?
Paragraph 1.
Okay, paragraph 1 is what, present or past?
The
The first is for the present.
Okay, exactly.
No.
And 2 what?
You can hear me, Miss?
Yes.
Okay. Paragraph 2 is past. It's okay?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, very good. So yes, as you mentioned, this one, paragraph 1, is pretty much for the present. I'm talking about something that I have right now, my possessions in the present. And this one, paragraph 2, is something that I had. Okay, I had in here in my room when had is the past of have.
Okay.
Yes, so in here, let me move this because this thing. So have is present, had like this is the past. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and again, I'm talking about possessions.
Okay.
Let me. And I guess going back a little bit to that, what is different? So this one is present and this one is past. Why? What's different? Why this one is present and why this one is past? Why do you think?
For the verb was.
Okay, for the verb was, that is one. What else?
Don't and didn't.
Exactly. Okay, so in the present, like Ileana said, I'm really using don't have, but in the past, I have didn't have. Didn't, we know is the past. What else?
Had, I had, did.
Exactly. Okay, right now in my room, I have a bookcase and I have one bed. But in the past, I have. So do you see? Have, had. This is the past. All right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have questions with this?
No.
Teacher,
Yes.
had es lo mismo que have.
Yes, but
Yes.
have is present and have is the past.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Any other question?
Had passed.
Yes.
Y siempre va a ser así cuando es presente, I don't, y cuando
Ajá.
es pues pasado, I didn't.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right. But we're going to explain affirmative, negative, and question one by one. All right. Well, like I said, have, we know that have is for possession. Okay. So I have an iPhone, I have a TV, I have a laptop in the present. But I can also use had to talk about possessions, but is the past. Okay. For example, in the past, I had 2 beds in my bedroom because one was for my sister and the other one was for me. So I had 2 beds. Is this possession in the present or in the past?
In the past.
In the past.
I had.
I had, exactly. The same. Maybe right now I have a lot of shoes or I have a closet in my bedroom. But in the past, I had a lot of toys. Okay, so right now I have shoes, but in the past I had toys.
Teacher, y el
Yes.
had se puede utilizar con, o sea, no nada más con el I, o sea, se puede utilizar con el she, con el he.
Yes,
con el you.
I'm going to explain that in a moment.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
but yeah, we can use it for that. So let me actually go to that part. Well, it's what I was saying. Have is for possession in the present. This one is in the past. Like I said, I have one bed right now. I had 2 beds in the past. She has 5 dogs now. So we're talking about the present. But in the past, maybe I can say, she had 7 chairs. Or he has a chair, but in the past, he had a desk. Okay, so I can use them. Do you have questions with this?
No.
No.
Okay, I'm
No.
actually going to go in this question. Are these, I'm gonna only going to focus on this. Are they affirmative or are they negative?
Affirmative.
Affirmative.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to this part. So had in affirmative, it's like this.
Miss,
Yes.
Miss, can you explain me
Pasando la basura.
podría explicarme la diapositiva anterior?
Yes.
Porque no entendí.
Uh-huh. Okay, from here, what is the question that you have?
En have, dice she has
Uh-huh.
5 dogs.
Uh-huh.
And I don't understand el has
This
y
one?
no el have.
Remember that for third person, he, she, and it, we have the rule of the S in present.
Mhm.
So in this case, I, you, we, they, we have to use have. But for he, she, and it, we have to use the verb in S.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Yes, so it's the same like I do, she does. So it's the third rule person. But this is present. Right now, don't worry about this. Only focus on this part. Okay, that this is the important because this is the one that you're going to see in the quiz. All right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm talking about had affirmative. So I have my subject. If you see, I include everything. I, you, we, they, he, she, it. Had. I have to use the verb had. I don't have to change it. I don't have to use another one. So is this one for everybody. Okay. I, you, we, they, he, she, it, had. And then my extra information. I had 2 beds. He had 2 beds. They had a cat when, well, in this case, I put when I was 6 years old, but I'm talking about me. So my structure is subject, the verb, and then the extra information. And I'm using affirmative, okay?
Yes.
Do you have questions with this? If you have questions, tell me.
Affirmative in past.
Affirmative in past, yeah. We're talking
Okay.
about the past. We're not talking about present right now.
Okay.
Anybody has a question with this? Any other question?
No.
Okay.
No.
So it's simple like this. So I, you, we, they, he, she, it, had. I don't have to change the verb. It's only had. And then extra information. All right. And now this is what I'm going to ask you to do. In your notebook, if you have your notebook or a piece of paper, I want you to write 3 sentences. 3 sentences of the things that you had when you were a child. For example, I had a cat when I was a child. I had 2 bikes when I was a child. I had 4 backpacks when I was a child. Okay, so these are the 3 things that I had in the past. I want you to write in your notebook 3 sentences similar to this. But remember, these are my examples. You change the example, okay? When you finish, write finish in the chat, please. If you have a question with a vocabulary word like, teacher, es que no sé cómo se dice, ask me, okay? Mochilas is backpacks. Okay, casa de juguete would be toy house. All right, so Elena finish, Katia finish. Okay, and you finished. Okay, Elena finish.
Teacher,
Yes.
como,
What?
como los carritos control remoto.
Mm, I would say, let me write it down. Okay, so I put remote control cars if it's plural, or remote control car if it's singular.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I'm finished.
Okay. Okay, let's see who's missing. Okay, I think everybody, almost everybody. Okay, I'm gonna go this. I'm gonna go one by one. Not everybody is going to participate in this activity, but I want I'm gonna be asking 2 or 3 people for an example. Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with Ileana. Tell me one example of yours.
I had a dog when I was a child.
Okay, very good. Edgar, can you give me one example?
I had a dog when I was a child.
Okay, very good. Let me see. Fernanda, can you give me one example?
I had a remote control car when I was a child.
All right, very good. Mary, can you give me one example?
I had a badge when I was a girl.
Okay, when you were a girl. All right, very good. Let's see. I'm gonna ask just one more time another person, and I think it would be Elena. Can you give me one example?
I had a dog when I was a child.
Okay, very good. All right. So before we continue, do you have questions with have in affirmative?
No.
No. Okay. All good.
All good.
Okay. So I'm going to continue with this. Okay. Okay. So it's the same thing. Okay. This one, I don't want you to pay too much attention to this because it's the present. We have to focus on this part, but I want you to see the difference. Okay. This is the thing that we have to focus. So for have, which is possession in the present, in this case, I can say I don't have a bed. Okay. What do you think is the negative form in past?
Didn't.
Didn't?
I
Okay.
didn't
I didn't have.
have
Exactly. Okay. So if you see, this is pretty much examples in the present, and these ones are in the past. I'm going to focus only on this one. So I didn't have 2 beds. You, talking to another person, didn't have 3 toys. She didn't have 7 chairs. He didn't have a desk. It, I'm talking about a dog, or I'm talking about a cat or an animal. It didn't have two colors. Okay? Is this affirmative or negative?
Negative.
Negative.
Okay. So I'm talking about negative and I'm talking about the past. And that's it. I'm not talking about present. I'm only talking about the past. All right?
Yes.
All right. So now I'm going to go to the negative form of had. So if you see the same thing, my sentences, they start with a subject. In this case, it's negative. So I have to use the verb or the auxiliary verb didn't have. I'm sorry. Didn't have, which is this one. Oh, okay, it's the same thing. And I did not have, which is the same thing. They are the same. Okay, it's no difference. It's the same thing. And then I continue with extra information, which is this. So I can say I, you, we, they, he, she, it didn't have 2 beds in my room. In this case, I'm talking about me. Or we did not have a cat when when we were 6 years old. I did not have a cat when I was 6 years old. Okay, so the same thing. These ones, they can be used for this. This is the same as this is the same. Okay. All right. Now, what is different between the affirmative and the negative? What is the difference between affirmative and negative?
Verbo, el negativo está normal y el
Exactly.
positivo.
Yes. So in this case, if you remember the affirmative, I'm gonna go back to this. The affirmative, I have had.
Yes.
Okay, but negative. Negative, I have didn't. Didn't is a past. So my verb, it has to be in present, okay? Or in simple form.
Because you ya, porque ya se puso el didn't, ¿no?
Exactly. So the didn't is the verb in the past, let's say. And have, which is possession, has to be in simple form. So the only thing you need to remember is have in negative is I didn't have, and that's it.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have questions with this?
No.
No.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna go to this part. The same thing. I want you to, you know what? Don't do it in the notebook. Do it in the chat, in the Zoom chat. Okay. I want you to write only two sentences. You don't have to write 3. Only 2 sentences. And they have to be in negative. For example, I didn't have a dog when I was a child, or I didn't have a laptop when I was a child. I didn't have a car when I was a child. Okay, only 2 sentences, please. Okay. Yes. Mhm. Mhm. Okay. All right. Mhm. Okay. All right. So let's do this. I'm gonna ask again 2 or 3 people for them to share what they have. Well, actually no, I already saw them, so it's okay. Okay, I didn't have a car. I didn't have a PSP. All right. Okay. Um, do you have questions we didn't have?
No.
Okay. All good, everybody?
Yes.
All right. So remember, in this case, the structure for possession. I'm talking about possession. It would be didn't have. Okay. Negative. Do you have questions between affirmative and negative before I continue?
No.
No.
Okay. Let me go to the next. Next slide. Hold on. Okay. This one I don't think is in the book, so we're gonna do it together. All right. In here we have the instructions. It says read the sentences and write. Ignore this. Right. Tell me the things that people had or did not have in the past. Okay. We have to write had or didn't have. You don't have to copy. I only want you to tell me. Okay. We have one example. It says number 1. People didn't have TV. Okay. This is something that they didn't have, right? I'm talking about in the past, very, very, very past.
Okay.
Okay. So very, very past, not like 20 years ago. No. Past, past, past. Now, in this case, I have people, bicycles. What do you think? Had or didn't have?
Didn't have.
Had.
Okay. I don't know if all right. So had, right? I'm just gonna put affirmative. Okay. People, computers. What is it? People had computers or people didn't have?
Had.
Okay, so negative.
Yes.
Yes.
What about mobile phones? So the mobile phones are the cell phone. What do you think? People had or didn't have?
Didn't have.
Okay. Okay, so talking about negative. What about books? People had or people didn't have books?
Had.
People had books.
Okay, so good. What about music? What do you think? Did people have music in the past? Yes or no?
Had.
Had.
Yes.
Affirmative?
Yes.
All right, very good. Okay, so that's good. But so you understand the difference between possession in affirmative and negative?
Yes.
Sí.
Before I continue with the questions, do you have something that you are confused or that you are not sure?
Didn't have miss is negative. Right?
Negative, exactly. So this one is negative.
Okay. And had is
Affirmative.
affirmative.
Mhm.
Affirmative. Thank you.
Teacher, what is
Yes.
then?
Then is in the past.
Okay,
So now I'm talking about present, then is in the past.
okay.
Mhm. Ready?
Ready.
Teacher,
Yes.
las dos formas de negativo que son didn't have y did not have
Uh-huh.
pueden usarse en cualquier sujeto, ¿verdad?
Yes. I can
Okay.
use them for everybody. In the past, I
Okay.
can use them for everybody.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Questions? Any other?
No.
All right. So I'm gonna continue with the questions before we change the session. Okay. So right now I'm using had, but in the interrogative form. Okay. So we're talking about questions. So if you see, I start with this. I start with the auxiliary, which is did. Did, and if you see, it's the same thing. Did I, did you, did we, did they, did he, did she, did it. It's the same. Did you have? Did he have? Did they have? Did she have? So it's the same. It's did, the subject, have, and then the extra information. Yes? The verb is have because I'm talking about possessions. Okay? So it's always like this, have. I don't change it to had, it's have. Did you have 2 bedrooms in my room? This is the important thing. You have to make a question, so you have to use a question mark. Did she have a cat when, in this case, she was 6 years old? Did we have 2 beds in my room? Whatever. Okay. So it's like this. Did, subject, have, and then what you want to ask. Okay.
Yes.
Do you have questions with this?
Entonces siempre es have, no se usa el has.
Exactly. My only verb is have. I don't want to change it. It's only have. That's it. But in past, yes.
It's the same with, for the negative.
Negative, exactly. Mhm. Yes.
Solo se pone el did antes del
Exactly.
subject.
Mhm. Because
Okay.
it's a question. In this case, it's a question. If you see, I'm gonna, before we change. Okay. So if you see, this is the question, but in negative or in affirmative, it's the same structure. What I have to do is switch. Okay. In this case, did I pretty much switch the subject with did, and that's how I ask the question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this one, are you with a he, she, it, had a dog, had 5 friends. Is this affirmative or negative?
Affirmative.
Affirmative and negative.
What do you think? Affirmative or negative?
Affirmative.
Okay.
Affirmative.
So it's affirmative, right?
Yes.
I had is affirmative.
Yes.
Are you with a he, she, it didn't have a dog? Are you with a he, she, it didn't have 5 friends? Affirmative or negative?
Negative.
Yes.
Negative.
All right. So didn't is already negative. That's something that you need to remember, and is have. Okay. So you understand the difference? Affirmative, past, past.
And what is the difference with the wasn't? Ya sé que ya me estoy regresando un poco, pero, o sea, porque es igual, ¿no? ¿O me estoy equivocando?
What do you mean? What do you mean is igual?
No, yo sola me revolví. No, ya, está bien.
Okay. Anyways, if you have a question, you can ask me about that later. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Now, in this case, What I want you to tell me about the difference between the sentences and questions. So I had a bed in my room. Did you have a bed in your house? Let's say. What is different between these two questions? These two sentences.
If.
One is
The question.
Did.
El auxiliar.
one is affirmative.
Because one is a question and one is
Affirmative.
An affirmative sentence.
Mhm.
Exactly. So if you see in the question, in this case, these are affirmative. So I don't have
Yes.
did. But in a question, I have to change the same thing, the position. Okay. So I have to start my questions always with did, you, and then the verb is have. Did, she, and then the verb is have. Did, they, and then the verb is have. Because they are questions. Okay. Like that. All right.
right.
Do you have questions with this?
No.
No.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Okay.
Miss,
Yes.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
When, bueno, cuando es en tercera persona, ¿se sigue diciendo had o has?
In past is have.
Had y ya no se dice has.
No.
Solo
When it,
have.
in this case, past for everybody is the same thing. Had. Only in present I can change it to has, but in past is always have. Or in this case, have. Did she have in a question?
Pero es have cuando es pregunta.
Yes.
Y cuando vas a contestar la pregunta también es have.
If it's negative, I would say I didn't have or I have. So if I ask, if somebody asks me, did she have a brother? Then yes, she had 3 brothers maybe, or no, she didn't have a brother.
Okay.
We're gonna check the answers in a moment, so don't worry about that.
Okay.
All right. Okay. What I'm going to ask you to do before we because I have to change the session. Yes.